what motivated you to be a firefighter?
Probably when I finished bike racing. I was bike racing in Europe, and when I came home I had no job, no nothing, so I saw a poster to become a forest firefighter. So when I went into forest firefighting, just that there was a few people starting to take the courses to become a city firefighter, and I loved the forest firefighting and the people that I was working with, so I started taking the courses through correspondence. And then when I come home after the forestry season, I started getting into it, and I saw what I needed to do, and after a few years I got in. So basically the people that I was working with. Yeah.
Why did you leave forest fighting?
It's seasonal, and I wanted a career. And you can do forest firefighting as a career, but you have to go through the ranks and years and stuff. So I really needed a career. I was gonna have a baby. I was married, and I really wanted to stay in one place. With forestry, you're doing a lot of traveling, so you're away from your family a lot. And I had done a lot of traveling with my sports throughout Canada and the States and Europe and stuff, and I just really felt like I was like, I just want to stay in one place. Yeah.
Deal with danger on a day-to-day basis?
Day-to-day, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not going to glorify it or glamorize the job that I do. So there's some days that I don't deal with danger day-to-day, but yeah, for sure, obviously there's going to be days. And just through training, like, we train every single day on scenarios that we're going to come across. With firefighting, it's not just firefighting. 60% of our calls, you got to remember, are first responder calls. So we go to people who are on crack or heroin, and they're swinging glass around and stuff like that, and we're trained in that too. It's not just firefighting that we're dealing with. So you basically, just with your training, it's just like you just with your schooling, you do it every single day because you do it, right?
What are some of your training exercises that you do?
Training, we do like our first aid training, and so you have to keep going with your skills, with your, like, to use a defibrillator to do CPR and all that stuff. We don't do too much bandage work, like, because of the ambulance does that. Like, so if we come across something like that, but we just do a lot of CPR kind of work and that kind of stuff. With our firefighting skills, every day that we're practicing using bags to lift cars, hose handling, and radio, stuff like that. Just all the kind of stuff that you need to be a firefighter.
Right there, yeah.
So you said most of your calls are like ambulance calls and things like that?
It's about 60%. It's a little bit less, but around 60%. With any fire department, professional fire department in the city, we have, when the ambulance is running short on cars, we go to Delta and Echo calls. So we don't do Alpha Bravo Charlie calls like sprained ankles, things like that. We don't go to that stuff. But if somebody's they're in bad shape, we're going to go to that if they're short of cars, if you know what I mean. So that's why sometimes if you see a neighbor and we roll up and we're getting out and we stay in these kind of clothes, it's a first responder call. So we're trained in that kind of stuff. We can't give drugs. We can't do anything like that. So when you see ambulances and they give needles, like adrenaline and stuff like that, we don't do that. We basically stabilize a patient until the ambulance comes. Okay.
So I had another question then. How do you feel when you get an actual firefighting call?
Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Huge adrenaline. It's like the tone comes through at the hall different. Instead of a high-low or a low-high, it just comes in as a straight tone, and you get a shot of adrenaline, and it goes through your body pretty quick. Because sometimes it comes at, say, 2 in the morning. We have beds at the hall because we live at the hall, so we'll be sleeping, and we have a 4-minute response time in anywhere in the city to get to. So that means we go from a complete sleep to in our clothes on the truck within about 45 seconds, and then we have to be at that call after that in about 3 minutes. So in that 3 minute, or sometimes it can be 60 seconds depending on how close the the fire is. Like we had a house caught on fire just behind the hall last week. We have to be in all our gear within 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on how much gear we need. So yeah, it's adrenaline to get ready quick. Kind of like if you're late for school and you're looking at the alarm clock and it's way over. Same kind of thing.
Aside from biking, what other sports have you played?
When I was your age, like you guys are in grade 11? Grade 11, yeah. I played tennis. I played soccer and tennis right through high school. So, and then I took the tennis as far as I could in provincially. And then as soon as I graduated, right in grade 12, I started bike riding a lot more. And then right after I graduated high school, I went to college and quickly found that was not for me. I think I was reading more cycling magazines than actually studying. And it was a lot of my own money because like I had to pay for my own schooling. And I started just bike riding a ton, and then I started bike racing, and I hooked up with an Italian family, and I pretty much moved out, and I started living with this family and started bike racing, and then I just started traveling to the States, and then I finally moved over to Europe so I could race there.
What about being a firefighter?
Probably the guys that I work with, for sure. Like when I hear guys when they retire, towards the end of their career, they always say, probably won't miss the job so much, but I'll miss the guys. It's just like forestry, you know, like when I was in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I graduated. And I hate to say it, but I didn't. I just didn't. I kind of like this, I kind of like that. I love sport. Sport was just everything to me. But when I got into forest firefighting, as soon as I got around, I worked with 20 guys. Every single guy was on the exact same page that I did. Most of the guys that I worked with were from the rowing national team, and this guy was a professional hockey player that came back, and it was just like they just fit everything that I love to do, and so we had the exact same mentality. So I loved working with those guys, and then when I got in the fire department, it's the exact same way. It's just now I work with 100 guys and some women that have the exact same mentality. So I love going to work because it's we all get along so well, you know.
Okay, you've been patient.
What type of bike racing was it? Like mountain bike or like road?
Road, yeah, just strictly road. Mountain biking was really new when I was doing it. It was just starting to come up. I did a little bit, but mostly just all road.
Right here, yeah.
Do you have any techniques for dealing with the adrenaline rush?
Yeah, it's a good question, you know, because it's a proven fact that, like, if you don't deal with it too well, it can, they find that with so much adrenaline, you get really run down and you get sick. So you basically just have to calm down, just kind of stay focused. And you see the newer guys on the job, they just really, you know, they just get really way too excited, you know. But over the time you just get used to just kind of slowing down and just because I've been to so many calls now,
Right.
you know, you just get used to it.
There we are.
You say you're a personal trainer, right? So like, who's the #1 Ironman that you said that you trained?
I trained with Peter Reed, and I trained with Jasper Blake. So Peter was a really good friend of mine, and I went to Germany with him. I had trained him I had ran with him a bit, not too much cycling, but I motor paced him a lot on my scooter. I don't know if I should tell you that because I think it's illegal, but at the higher end with the cyclists and the Ironman, I used to have, you train, just like when I was a cyclist, you train behind a motorbike or scooter, so you can take them up to high speeds for a long duration of time. So Peter used to get me to do that. And with Jasper, he needed a little more core conditioning. So it was really cool for me because he was weak in this one component. So I was taking him I worked with him for a year in the gym, and then that year he won Ironman Canada. So that was, for me, it was really cool because I went out to watch him in Penticton, and he won that year. So it was awesome.
Yes, sir. There we are.
What do you really enjoy about personal training?
I think changing people's lives. Really, it's like now a lot of when I first started personal training, I would take pretty much anybody, like, because it was a new business for my wife and I, so I would just take like everybody. Now I've kind of broken it down into more of the athletes that they're missing maybe one component of their training. They need more balance or more core conditioning or leg strength and stuff. So now I'm working with a few more national team athletes, right from fencers. Like right now I'm working with a fencer that was an Olympian, and she's on the World Cup scene right now. I'm working a lot with her and a few triathletes and Ironmen still. Yeah, so more. I love that, changing their direction of their career, because they're missing maybe one thing that I can see, or they're telling me, and I can hopefully change. You know?
How do you find a balance between being a personal trainer and a firefighter?
That's a good question, because when I first started, I just kind of went like crazy. You know, like I was just trying to get as many clients as I could, and I have a kid. And I just got so burnt out because I was doing so many clients, and then after a while I just said I got to get a balance. So now it's like I'm picking and choosing who I'm working with. I'm no longer taking somebody who's just trying to get into triathlon. Now I'm taking more specific people. So yeah, that's how I find the balance now. Basically just cutting my hours down of training. Yeah.
Mr. Gardner.
Going back to firefighting a little bit, can you tell us a bit about the differences between like city firefighting and forest firefighting, maybe in terms of danger or whatever you want to tell us?
Yeah. Forest firefighting is the fires they come in bunches sometimes, like with lightning strikes, like the storm will come in and you can actually see things coming. So we go from being really quiet, where we're working in the community. With forest firefighting, we have to do community work every day. So we build bridges for people, or docks, or we paint people's homes in the community. I was stationed just outside of Nelson, so every day you do community work, and then all of a sudden you can see the storms coming in, and it's like, bang, you're loading up the trucks or loading up the helicopters. We do a lot of helicopter work, and it was just, now you're on the side of a mountain. So everything's on the side of it's usually on the side of a mountain or in the mountain range, you know? So you're having to go, and everything's really physical. And the work is, you do 12-hour minimum days. That's a minimum day. And then there were some days that we would work up to 20 to 24 hours, because it's really fast work. You have to get in there and you have to put it out real quick. And the helicopters are dropping off water, planes are coming in, and it's just like, just go, go, go. And it's sometimes the camps are huge. They go from 20 people crews to sometimes the camp will be 2,000 firefighters will be in a camp. So when you come back from a 12-hour day, you go to a 2,000 person lineup for showers. So usually you end up just kind of showering or bathing in a river, or you just use water bottles to clean yourself. And sometimes you'll be at a fire for 2 weeks. Sometimes you're there just for 4 days. So you get kind of used to just. Whereas city, it's you go from mundane alarm bells at buildings to the guy we had a couple days ago who jumped off Mayfair Mall. So everything changes quickly. You know, you go from silencing alarm bells in an apartment, and then all of a sudden, like 3 minutes later, you're dealing with someone who's been stabbed downtown or something like that. So everything changes so quickly, you know what I mean?
What's probably the most dangerous thing that you've experienced when firefighting?
City or
Anything.
We had an apartment fire a few years back, and went into the apartment, and the roof started caving in, and I was in an apartment of the building that the roof started caving in, and I had found myself into a closet at the time. And when roofs start caving in, just like above these ceiling tiles, there's wires, and the wires come down. And I remember coming out, and the wires wrapped around my neck and my tank, because you obviously have you have your air tank on, right? And they wrapped around my neck and my tank, and I'm trying to get to my partner. He's trying to get to me, and it's like it's black. It's not like the movies where you can kind of see and you can see a little bit. It's black. You know, you can't see your hand in front of your face.